situational stuff being on the field this early in the game as opposed to last year?
Yeah, I mean, it's practice. You can actually practice. So guys go out, guys do good things, they do bad things. You can go back in, you can correct it. Coaches can see what guys do well, think through situations. So whether it's red zone or third down or base offense or 2-minute or anything, we're obviously being in the field's a major advantage this year.
You've had a pretty strong turnout these 2 weeks, at least when we've been out here. Any concern about Robbie's absences?
No, everyone on the team. It's it's voluntary to be here, and the guys that are here, we're going to coach them, and we love everybody that's on the team. So the guys that are here, we're just going to keep working with them, and the guys that aren't here, we'll work with them at training camp.
Do you expect Robbie to be at the mini camp?
Yeah, I have no reason to think otherwise. I mean.
And then Daquan was the other one absent today. He was here last time. Is there anything specific?
Yeah, a lot of guys are dealing with different things. They're dealing with like either personally or business-wise or family-wise or all that. So you guys know I try to do a good job of not divulging people's stuff that they have going on. But yeah, I mean, like we had, I think one day we might have two more, two less. I mean, but we're always we have a lot of guys here.
And did you add in like an extra bit at the end there? Was that just kind of
no?
Okay.
No. I just wanted we had planned originally to do all three groups at the end, and then Shaq and those guys were yelling to do it at the beginning, so I let them do it at the beginning just to get practice up and running. So.
And the rain, did you think about going inside at all, or is that kind of?
Nope, not at all.
Matt, you talked about Jeremy Chin last week, but if you decided to move him more to playing more safety, what is the advantage of that for you guys in doing that?
I mean, he's just a good player, so I think wherever you put him, I mean, he would be a big safety. He can cover tight ends. He can go fit the run. It's rare to have a guy that big at that size and that intelligence level. But it's really hard right now because he's so limited in terms of what he's doing. But he's like I said before, he's one of those guys who can fill a lot of different roles for us. And you get guys like him and Shaq and a bunch more. It just diversifies what you can do.
Is that a definite thing, or something you can strongly consider, and where is it at?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, you might do it, and then all of a sudden get to camp, and he's not comfortable there, right? So it's hard to move someone without seeing them play. And like I said, he played. If you go back to some games last year, he played 30, 40 snaps at safety. So it's just kind of since we're in the off season, since he can't do it, just he's meeting a little bit more on the safety part because he's already done the linebacker part.
When did he catch your eye last year? Was it really early, or was it into the games, or
as a player?
Yeah.
I mean, I met them all. I met all the guys like July 24th, so it was kind of hard. But I think coming in, Coop kept telling me, "Hey, there's this guy. You got to check him out. You got to check him out." So, went to the Senior Bowl, saw him. Obviously, we had a strong feeling for him, and he's been everything so far that we've expected.
You had a transaction yesterday, bringing in a receiver and letting Tommy go. What do you know about the receiver? CJ obviously a good player at Ohio State, punt returner. I think right now where we are, we just need a couple more receivers in camp, and this is a time where we're going to see as many people as possible and allow some guys who come in and done a really good job and maybe aren't here, but maybe they'll be back with us in training camp. It's just for us an opportunity to see as many people and build the best roster we can going into camp.
Matt, what do you like about what you guys have done with the tight end room, and what would you like to see from that position, especially in the pass game?
Well, I mean, I like, obviously I think Ian has had a tremendous offseason. Let me say that first. Like he looks explosive. He looks athletic. He looks like, if you're talking about a guy that's really had a good offseason, I would say it would be Ian Thomas. And he's more comfortable with what he's doing. Dan Arnold obviously brings a receiving threat to us. Tommy, we're excited to see what he can do. So for me, it's hard to say exactly what we'll see until we get him in pads. But I think we have a group that can get open, that can catch the football, that can also block. And obviously we'd like them to be a little bit more of a presence in the passing game than it was last year, especially since losing Curtis. Hopefully someone that can help in the middle of the field would be great.
I know you don't really have an idea until they put the pads on, but what are your first impressions of what you've done reworking the left tackle position?
Yeah, I mean, Cam Irving's a guy. Geez.
I'm cursed every time I ask.
Cam Murray's a guy that we really like his traits, his physical ability, and I'm glad that he's here right now because he's getting a lot of work. Dennis Daly's a guy we know can do both. Greg Little, so there's a lot of guys that we feel good about. Trent Scott's in red right now, but we know he can swing both sides. So we're happy with where we are. We just have to get the pads and preseason games and just see who exactly let them go compete it out and see who beats out who.
Matt, were there a couple things with Ian last year that were kind of holding him back from kind of taking the next step?
I would say this, to be quite honest. I think I said that to you guys a couple times, and sometimes things sound like coach speak. I know, but we're getting a chance. He catches 40 or 50 balls every day from us, and so he has a chance every rep to have Ange be out there. So Coach Angelico do this, and so I just think for Ian, coming from one system into another system last year, he was just kind of eating it, taking it as it came, and now he has a chance to really, really, really delve into the details of what we do. So I think this is the most important thing for him, because I think it's just about having a feel for what we're asking him.
Matt, I was curious, when you're obviously Chuba's wearing a red jersey right now. I know he's a little limited, but when you're carving out a role from him behind Christian, how do you envision that looking, or even for the other backup running backs? How do you plan that out?
Yeah, I don't think you can I don't think in your mind you can carve out a role for someone who's hurt before you've seen him. So to me, Chuba's got to get healthy. For the other guys, obviously, we know Christian's a weapon. We would love to add to his portfolio by having another back, so that we don't overwork him, and then we can be flexible with him. So Rodney Smith is another guy I think that came back in really, really good shape. Reggie Bonifon's healthy now, so there's some guys there that we have history with, and then we brought in obviously Chuba, but then a couple other guys as well. So it'll be a good competition, I think, in camp to see not only are guys competing to see who's the number two, but what that number two's role is. And days like today, 2 minute, all that stuff, that helps.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I have to ask, what's Chuba dealing with? Was it something he came in with? Anything?
No, he had a soft tissue injury while he's here.
Matt, you mentioned running a little short at receiver, requiring you to make a transaction. Do you guys have a clear sense now on Terrace? I mean, he was out here rookie minicamp and then in and out. Where is he in that?
Yeah, Terrace. We had a really clear plan with Terrace. We want to get him super healthy. And when I say super healthy, sometimes you're cleared, but as our guys do the diagnostics, they say hey, if this could get hurt eventually. So we came in with a plan to just get him ready for training camp. He's doing a good job in the meetings. He's still out here for walkthroughs and things like that. But we are just kind of like we're doing with Chin and those guys, just getting him as healthy as possible. He had a couple injuries in college, and so we want to make sure he's whole before we start the season.
But training camp's kind of the point at which you think
that's the plan.
Yeah.
You talked about how much OTAs have helped Ian Thomas. Are there any other players that stick out to you that have kind of made a leap during this period?
Yeah, I would first say all of them, just because we didn't have it last year. Maybe probably for the coaches as much as anything. But that's a really good question. My goodness. I think obviously for the quarterbacks, even those reps right there, dealing with blitzes, dealing with pressure, dealing with running around. I think guys like Sam Franklin, back in the secondary, I'm trying to think of Kenny Robinson, guys that had to play last year and got kind of forced into playing. Now they have a chance to step back and really learn. So I think all the young players are really benefiting, and then the new additions, the guys that we brought in, I think in free agency, it's been really good for them as well. But I'd say that the guys in the secondary really gelling together and allowing us to use a lot more tools.
What have been your initial thoughts about how Sam has dealt with, again, limited adversity just because of the situation, but how he's dealt with adversity this first little bit here?
In terms of
just if he throws a pick or makes a mistake.
I don't think there's any question about Sam's mental toughness. I just think he handles adversity pretty well. He's also had a good camp so far. There's just not a ton of super competitive stuff yet. None of the quarterbacks have been hit yet, so. We'll see. Like I said, we'll see you in training camp. Obviously, we're doing team periods against each other. There's some ups, there's some downs for everybody. At the end of the day, the true mark of all these guys, coaches, players, everyone, is how they respond to adversity. And I have no questions about Sam that way.
Have you seen Brian Burns start to take on any more of a leadership type role as he gets older?
I thought you saw Brian take that role on in the middle of last year. I thought Brian did a good job of starting to become more vocal. I think the one thing he's doing right now is you know, he's a little bit banged up, so he can't do everything, but he's really focused on trying to get better in what he can do. And I think, you know, a lot of guys think of leadership as like a position. To me, it's if you're willing to be coached, if you're willing to hold yourself accountable, if you're willing to say, hey, that's on me, and if you're willing to work really hard. And so Brian's doing those things, so I'm sure he's someone that a lot of guys will follow.
How much of a difference can it make for him having Hassan here this year?
Well, I mean, I think anytime you have, you know, guys on the other side that can bring pressure, it helps you. You have pressure on the interior, and I like that whole group. You know, Marquise Haynes, you know, I think he had 4 or 5 sacks last year. Frankie Louvu's the guy we brought in that I think has been, you know, really a pleasant, you know, addition for us. We knew we liked him, but Frankie's done a really good job. So I think, you know, between all those guys, and you know, Hassan's funny for me because, you know, I coached him in college, but like Al Holcomb and Don Johnson on our defensive staff, you know, they coached him his rookie year in Arizona. And to see how far he's come as a player, you know, he's always been a good person, but he's just such a leader right now, such a mature guy. We really helped our team, like guys like A.J. Boye. I mean, those guys are true pros, and that's really what we want to have in the building, and that's helped us. That's it. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I told him I wasn't going to go. I was going to do it outside. I would see who waited in the rain and who left.
Come on, let's wait for one more train. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Coach.